No, Denny. And I was going to ask Denny the same question, but he was going to say too long. But I think our times start back at the town hall in Plainfield at the old gym in 1958, Denny. Denny was a freshman and I was a sophomore. We were trying out for the JV basketball team. And after a few minutes, I'm throwing the ball up there practicing, and I see this guy come running out, and he's got these bright purple shorts on, and he had a brush cut around this high. I don't know if he thought he wanted to be 6 feet tall or what he wanted to do to form an impression. But I later found out by playing basketball, baseball, football with Denny, who was a tremendous athlete and a great guy to be with. After he left Plainfield High School, he went out to Eastern Connecticut to get an education. Came back to Plainfield as a school teacher. After he was in Plainfield for a few years, he told me one day, he says, you know what, I think I'm going to try my hand at coaching basketball. I said, is there an opening? He said, the girls. And isn't that kind of wimpy? Because way back when we were in high school, the girls didn't play full court like they do now. They played half court. There's 6 on one side, 6 on the other side. And I said, oh, brother, what are you getting into? But afterward, Denny was there a while, that they changed the format, they went back to the full court that they play now. And I really sincerely think that Denny revolutionized the girls' basketball at Plainfield High School. We got to the point where pretty soon the crowds at the girls' games far outnumbered the boys' games because they were very regimented, they were very well trained, very well coached. And after a few years, with Denny's preservance, he took the Plainfield High School girls basketball team to the 1978 state tournament, which I think is really a tribute to his fine coaching. The star athlete at that time was Kathy Beauchene. You know, Kathy was all-state in 1977, 78, 79. She went on later to star at the University of Connecticut. And we all know that Connecticut, UConn, probably has the premier program, you know, in the whole United States. Kathy went on to score 1,534 points, which made number 16 out of all these girls that played for the University of Connecticut. And I think her accomplishments go back to the training and mentoring that Denny gave her back into high school. So, congratulations. Dennis went on to become a very good athlete. And we were just talking a few minutes ago when he was a junior, and they were trying to have some of these younger ball players use these old equipment. And one of them was these leather helmets. And I don't know if you ever saw them, but they looked like cardboard wrapped together with the orange peel on top. We were playing Waterford one day, and all of a sudden, Denny really got creamed. He's laying on the ground, and we take the orange peel, or whatever they call that thing, off his head. Denny, how you doing? He said, oh shit, I think that's the guy how he was doing, or whatever. But we had some great times together, whether it was bringing up our families at Moosa Pond, you know, taking the kids for rides and out in the water. And after a while, in between, you know, we also got together and we did a little bit of painting. And we were pretty good at it. And we used to go to the room and, you know, I would do the cutting and he would do the rolling, and we would get done in no time. And one day, my former father-in-law, Mr. Coleman, he said, hey, Denny and Richard, how would you like to paint a house for us in Waterford? I said, why not? So we got my father's old Chevy pickup truck on a Saturday morning and loaded it up with the ladders. Do you remember that, Denny? Loaded up the ladders, the paint, the brushes, and all the stuff we needed. And we're cruising down the turnpike until we hit the Montville toll station. For some reason, the truck started operating, and here's B&B Paint is pushing this pickup truck down the Connecticut Turnpike through the toll station, whatever. But we had a lot of fun. This next little story I'm going to tell involves my Uncle Leo over there. I hope he's got his hearing aid turned off, whatever. You can't hear me. Then he took off to Florida, so the partnership was dissolved until last year. And he was staying with William Carroll, coming up from Florida to visit. He comes walking down the driveway with a muffin, you know. All of a sudden he starts talking to me and, hey Richard, you know, I was with Uncle Leo the other day, and I think he would like us to paint his house, the south side. He really needs it badly. So I said, oh, what the heck, why not? So we met down Uncle Leo's, and I think the last paint we put on it was like 1% milk or whatever, because We scraped the heck out of the building, ended up priming it, painted it. By the end of the day, I'm full of paint, and I'm sweating like an old goat. And I turned to Denny, and I said, Denny, are we doing this for Uncle Leo, or are you just trying to get away from Rosie for the day? Every now and then we used to treat ourselves though for a big treat on Monday night football. Denny would come over and we'd have shots and ginger brandy. The next day people would say, what was the score? I don't know, we didn't even know who played. And then there was the monthly trip to Spags. Bags at Spags, and we used to stop at the IHOP for breakfast. So those were really big times that we had way back then. But we also had an awful lot of fun and recapping everything, whether it was sports, whether it was work, whether it was the family. We have a lot of happy memories together, which I will never forget. And at this time, thank you, Denny.
Thank you.
Happy retirement with Rosalie, your children, your grandchildren, all your family and friends. You deserve it.
Nice.
Uh-oh, here it comes. Here comes the roaster. Uh-oh, here we go. And now we have Mr. Leonard King.
I don't speak well, so I have to read. Dennis rescued me. I was listening to this.
Hey, Len, speak in the mic. There you
I'm
go.
speaking. Oh, you gotta get rid of it.
Couldn't hear that beautiful voice.
All right. The return of Dennis and Rosalie to the place their memories were born seemed to be an appropriate time to reflect on Dennis and what his future prospects are after an outstanding career spent as a student, athlete, high school teacher, and coach over his lifetime. How funny was that?
Pretty good, Lenny.
He's warming up.
When the PHS 1962 senior class president sought speech writing expertise for his 50th PHS presentation from a NFA 1958 graduate who had spent most of his early years in juvenile courts on probation, was considered an academic terrorist, finishing 361st out of 362 graduating students. Sentenced to life without parole in the mills in Musa. After 44 years, was deemed no longer a threat to society and released. Pondering this moment, it dawned on me that this was just another example of how Dennis had never given up on anyone, student, friend, or foe alike. After 36 years in academia, there was no lasting service reward that is relevant, proving once again that longevity is not a proper measurement for the successful pursuit of a career. Kind of dry, I suppose. Dennis has left an academic legacy that will far outlast his 36-year teaching career, touching the hearts and minds of thousands of students and faculty alike, who will, in their own time and place, immortalize his memory through thought and deed as they pay forward the lessons instilled during the Dennis's tenure. Our wives have been responsible for bringing the two of us together in the 70s, as the unlikely coupling of Den and Len emerged over the years. We became lifelong friends. One of the things we always had in common was humor and the ability to laugh at ourselves and our life experiences. An absolute necessity with the both of us sharing our lives with the women raised in Musa. As Dennis returns to the hallowed grounds of his youthful glory years this week, he has found that every vestige of his presence has been destroyed or plowed under, except for the remains of the original PHS that stands as a gaunt reminder how the building and Dennis had fell into disrepair since those carefree years of long ago. Reflecting further, that Dennis must have been elected 1962 class president, surmising how the 1962 class members must have considered Dennis a student-athlete classmate for the ages. That he had the best chance for survivability for 15 more years, and probably would be in need of a boost to his ego one last time. Has anyone ever asked, just what was it that Denny is retiring from? Over the years, he seemed to have the dream job. Teaching and coaching. Yes, Mr. Bowley. Good morning, Mr. Bowley. Yes, sir, Coach. He voluntarily worked during summers when school was closed. When in industry and other fields of endeavor, did this ever happen? Not having enough, he turned to Central Florida University to attend more classes as coaching and teaching were not enough. He even had his boys follow him in order to share their academic experience. Recently, he and I toured the Dennis's high schools and at Central Florida University at his insistence, to yet relive his days of endless glory. The time spent with captured audiences and the yes, Mr. Bowley are gone. Now Mr. Academia faces the universal challenge of being at home alone with his wife 24/7. Now he will learn that wives take on a whole different demeanor during their retirement years, finding their spouses reign supreme and husbands are relegated to indentured servitude. He will find that his beloved Rosalie will conduct clandestine meetings under the auspices of electronic communication or social gatherings without his knowledge, while building agendas and field notes that are totally alien to their spouse's wishes or retirement plans, forcing Denny to seek activities outside the home, searching for relief from honey-do lists and the debilitating expectations from their spouse. Male teacher training and retirement counseling should be available to prepare one for this trauma prior to retirement. But alas, he will be left alone to adjust as we all do. Unfortunately, not without turmoil, in my opinion. Especially for retiring teacher coaches. Males rally.
Uh-oh, another page.
Dennis has spent most of his adult life in an environment where respect and authority are a prerequisite. He may experience cultural or physical shock, requiring specialized counseling for the eventuality when he is reminded how inefficient and useless he has become. With only his beloved Rosalie to grade him. Like school, he gets no second chance on the exam. The troubles mount, and then he finds himself visiting places where male retired teachers hang out. Drinking beer, reliving the years they were all considered men of stature and envy. Eventually his dog will no longer respond to him. Rosalie will have the Lawrence Welk show blocked from the TV. And takes his house key away.
That was good.
He sleeps in the back seat of his aging caddy in the garage. Out of frustration, Denny makes an offer to purchase and renovate the old PHS building, creating a home for retired male teachers. He attempts to return to Plainfield as the building's first occupant. Rosalie won't let him in to collect all the memorabilia from his glory years. Then he breaks into the house to recover his treasures for the years past. Rosalie has Dennis arrested. He finds prison somewhat restrictive, lacking any references to Mr. Bowley, but adjust. The Dennis and O.J. Simpson find they had much in common and became cellmates. sharing their glory years. Dennis is paroled for good behavior as a first-time offender. Leaves a PHS shirt for OJ. Finds the PHS home for retired male teachers is in foreclosure due to legal action submitted for omitting female teachers. Denny begs Rosalie to take him back. Rosalie permits Denny to return and live in the spare room in their house, stating he will have to wait a few weeks because Sister Terry's dogs currently occupy the room.
She'll babysit for you again.
Requiring special diets and restroom schedules. Rosalie adds that the caddy is still available for his occupancy and will be a great place to keep his glory days memorabilia. She states she will consider returning Lawrence Welk and occupancy of the master bedroom. Welcome back, she adds, stating with a grin, exams will be in the morning.